Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. Forgive my raspy voice. It's 5 p.m. I just woke up, but I wanted to make this video today for you guys. It's going to be the midnight leveling guide slash tips video that I make every expansion. I love making this video. It's always fun. Leveling's a fun time, and early access is actually just about a week away. It's 5:30, and it drops at 6 p.m. for me next Thursday. Actual release about a week and a half away, but this video is going to contain some items, tips, tricks, whatever you might want to use for leveling in Midnight. Now, we're going to go over the actual items and things first here. If you're a Warlock, I have a talent build. I'm going to play all that after this section. If you're not a Warlock, you don't got to watch it, because the more important part of the video is right here. So, when it comes to leveling, there are some really in-depth niche things you can use, like Falling Star and the Radnax gem and things that I used in the past that are like not that hard to acquire, but sort of tedious. And like, unless you're going super hard and trying to push like an actual world first leveling or level 90, whatever level we're going to be, I sort of decided to exclude them from this video. Sort of a headache, not really worth needed, but there are other lists out there as well. I would assume Wowhead and Ice Veins have articles on that soon coming out also. But I want to go over a handful of things today that are pretty easy to acquire, easy to do, enchant-wise, crafting-wise, that will give you a decent boost when it comes to actually leveling. So, first thing here, someone's going to ask, what is this add-on, this thing here? It's called Chonky Character Sheet, like a cat, Chonky Character Sheet. The big thing here is, the first thing we're going to hit on is speed. Speed while leveling. Now, my movement speed is right here. I mounted. If I hop off this, I'm sitting at 140% movement speed, which is not even as high as I can get. Now, I have changed a couple things around here. So, for example, my meta gem is a primary stat and movement speed gem. That is called an elusive blasphemite. I haven't worn this really at all. I've used the crit one instead. But for leveling, speed is very important. Getting from one place to the other faster, getting ahead of the pack, staying ahead of the pack, all that stuff, pretty impactful. Getting through it faster. We all want to rush to 90 to have nothing to do for 2 weeks. Right there with you. So movement speed gem is pretty important. It does gain more movement speed bonus per the number of colored gems you have, different colored gems you have in your gear. Now, I believe it does take, or is a max of 5 colored gems you can use. It is, I have a list somewhere, Ruby, Sapphire, Onyx, Emerald, and Amber. Basically, green, reddish purple, red, orange, and blue. As you can see here, here's my Emerald, it's highlighted in green there. Onyx, Sapphire. Here is an Amber gem. Here is my Ruby gem right here. The Amber gem is the only one that has like stamina and X on it. Every other gem has like 2 secondary stats on it. This one is the only one that has like stamina and haste, or stamina and verse. You can't get a double secondary stat Amber gem, which is why we haven't really played Amber gems for the duration of War Them for the most part. But regardless, leveling, you're not really going to miss out on 3 or 4 haste or verse versus getting a bit more speed. And hey, stamina's nice too, right? So there is that. So 5 different colored gems here, and your meta gem obviously will grant you essentially 10% bonus movement speed with the meta gem elusive blasphemite. Now, doubling down on that, you have the option to craft 2 pieces of gear with this prismatic nullstone embellishment. Currently, I still have this thing, Ascendance and Nerubian. I haven't done it yet, but if you craft 2 items with the prismatic nullstone, it will basically give you 25 and then 50% increased effectiveness of blasphemite secondary effects. This is a blasphemite gem, so you basically will get 3% movement speed from each unique colored gem, giving you a 15% movement speed increase when you have all 5 colors on with your meta gem over 10. I think this is worth it. Now, you can play things like, there are some damage-based effects for embellishments. There are some, obviously, there's like Ascension and the Rubian, and there's like the secondary stat ones that give you like, I think it's Mastery or Verse if you're above 80% health, whatever they're called. But getting 5% movement speed is pretty relevant. And if you're just sort of like, have extra sparks laying around, they don't really care about what you're doing with certain things, it might be beneficial to craft like a ring or a neck, because you can still socket rings and necks right now by buying the settings off the auction house with 2 sockets. If you can make them around max crafted level, which is 167, I believe, you're probably not going to replace those until you're done leveling for the most part. And swapping, or I guess throwing these 2 embellishments on them, like 2 rings or a ring and a neck, whatever, will basically give you that permanent like speed increase with essentially 4 out of your 5 gem slots and both embellishments for pretty much the entire duration of your leveling. Rings might drop with like a socket on them or a neck, maybe with a socket on it when you're leveling, but not 2, and you can't buy them either, right? Plus, who wants to go back to town, the socket things when you're leveling? Not really worth. So if you have sparks laying around, I don't think I even do. I'm not even sure. But if you have like slots or sparks laying around and things, making some rings and crafting them with like null stones, or just putting null stone embellishments on your gear in the first place, like your offhand or wherever else your Nerubians at, or other spots in general, not a bad idea. I would not replace tier gear with them, obviously, for whatever reason. Your 4-piece is pretty good. 6%, 10%, pretty strong. Wouldn't like break anything up with that. You should just wear this to your max level either way, pretty much. But there is that, unless Blizzard breaks it and disables it at a lower, like mid-level 85, right? Moving on from there and having more speed added to your gear, we have enchants. So there's enchant boots, Scout's March. Now I am a cheater, and I decided to grab older expansion enchants week 2 of the patch when they were still like applicable to gear when the stat switch came in. I have boar speed on my boots, which gives 10% movement speed. This is for my Burning Crusade. I don't know if this gives more than 10%. I'm not really sure. I'm not taking it off. I think boar speed's pretty cool. But either way, so we have 3 speed enchants. 3 you can play on your gear as well, which is Scout's March on boots, bracers with Chant of Armored Speed, which I have, 66 speed, and you also have your cloak with Burrowing Rapidity, which you get right here. And between my gems, having my Elusive Blasphemite and my 5 color gems here, varying colors, and these 3 enchants, I'm sitting at around 140% speed increase. Now, once again, if I do indeed slot this in, I'd be around 145% craft items, and there is that. Now, in addition to the gems and enchantments we just hit on here and the embellishments, there are a couple other ways to get a little bit more speed out of your gear. I was at 140% speed in the last segment of this video. Now I'm at 142. You might be wondering as to why, which is right here when it updates. There we go. It is because I have socketed a Straddling Viridian, which is a unique equipped gem that gives plus 12 speed. And the reason I've done this is because I basically have max gem slots, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 because I cheated and have 2 sockets. So I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So realistically, you need 1 for your meta gem, and then 5 for the other, rainbow gems, which gives you a total of 6. And you have 2 to 3, depending how many sockets you have left over for like usage, right? Which typically like involves having duplicate gems. For example, I had 3 of these onyx colored gems here, and I had 1 here, but I replaced it with a Straddling Viridian, which gives 12 speed. Now this is a unique equipped gem, so you only wear 1 in your gear, and the same with this one here, this Straddling Sage, whatever that word is. It's a gem, I don't know how to say it, I'm not very smart, live in Florida, but point being, you can socket this, as well as this, into a gem slot that's not, reducing your rainbow gem count from 5 to 4, right, or whatever you're at. So for example, I have 2 Deadly Onyxes still here, 2 Onyxes, so I can take this and toss it in here, and replace that. Still have 1 Onyx left, so I still have my green, purple, blue, orange, and red gem here, and now I have 143% bonus speed. Now, if I were to apply these 2 prismatic nullstone embellishments, which I'll do later on, I'll have about 148% speed, give or take. So we're actually sitting right around 150% movement speed passively. And if you notice here, like having this amount of a bonus speed right now, how fast I'm running, this is going to make a pretty big difference when it comes to leveling. You're passively moving this fast. I turn on Burning Rush, I'm at 203%. This is basically a like mounted speed almost. Like you're just running. And there's other effects that can increase speed temporarily as well. But if you're looking to like increase your speed, having the actual meta gem, once again, Elusive Blasphemite, the rainbow gems, Straddling Viridian, Sage, whatever this is here, Straddling Sage, and the 3 enchants, obviously. Scout's March, Chant of Armored Speed, and Chant of Burrowing Rapidity, I would say very important. I would grab these or basically any other like, minor main stat or secondary stat enchant that you have out there. Now, moving on from the speed stuff here, there are a couple of like unique items that you typically use for leveling. We had these for a very long time. There is Banner of Cooperation, Standard of Unity, and Battle Standard of Coordination. You can buy these from the guild vendors in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, respectively, as long as you have the rep for your guild. And they give 5%, 10%, and 15% 8% increased experience from killing monsters, basically for all guild members within the radius of the banner whenever you drop them on a 10-minute cooldown. If you're in an area where you're like trying to finish off one of the bonus objectives, AoEing mobs down a lot, throwing a standard down doesn't hurt. It does not affect quest experience or anything, so don't worry about that, but typically, I'll bind them to a macro somewhere and just throw them down or AoEing a lot. It makes a little bit of a difference, but it's sort of just free experience. No reason not to have them really for the most part. You know, we're trying to level the 90 as fast as possible to have 2 weeks of nothing really to do. So keep that in mind. But battle standards, pretty important. There is a cloak somewhere that gives you a Hearthstone to Orgrimmar or Stormwind. It's in my bank, I think. I don't know if I have it anymore. You can grab that if you want to get back to a major city for whatever reason. With all the like dungeon ports and raid ports and Hearthstones we have now, I don't really see a need for it, but if you want it, my bank's a mess. It's in here somewhere, I believe. Cloak, maybe it's not. I might have lied to you, but point being, you can get it from the guild vendor, I believe, as well, all the same. Might be in here. It's a thing regardless, you can get somewhere, but I don't really see a need for it at this point with it being, with having so many ports and Hearthstones and everything else at this point. It's just sort of fast and not really needed, or sort of irrelevant, not really needed at this point. But it is there if you want it. Moving on from there, a couple other unique items. Drums, obviously. If you're leveling in a party or somebody with Lust, a class that has Lust, drums, not really needed. But if you're not without drums, or not without a lusted class, drums pretty important. Goblin glider kits. So you can fly through like the campaign and everything once you get past the starting zone. However, there are times you might just want to glide down from one mountain to the other. You're trying to reach a certain quest point. You can skip a bit of like weird traversing certain things. You're trying to get to like a chest on a mountain somewhere. Just whatever reason, it's nice to have them around. They're extremely cheap, 5 gold maybe max per on the auction house, I'd assume, and always come in handy. And they're OG. Why not? Putting that aside, gun shoes. So gun shoes are actually really nice when it comes to trying to get out of a cave, an area where you can't mount or fly or anything. Popping gun shoes does give you a pretty solid speed increase for about 25 seconds. It gives you up to 333, which can get you out of those caves or random areas you're stuck in for a while, where flying or mounting is not allowed. They're not that expensive right now. They have a 3-minute cooldown. They're going to be more expensive when leveling gets closer, so if you want to grab some, I'd say grab some now. Not the end of the world either way, but pretty worthwhile. I go through like a stack or so every leveling expansion, and I always find them useful. Besides that, so another thing that has been around for a long time is Bear Tartar. So this is still working, unless Blizzard breaks this, which I don't think they will, heading into the actual launch. Bear Tartar still works. So whenever you eat it, it gives you an hour-long buff, which I already ate a bit ago. Whenever you kill an enemy that grants experience, I believe it's experience, it gives you a speed increase for a short time after doing so. So for example, I'm sitting at 143 speed here. This pack's gonna aggro. Let me kill this mob. We're gonna jump whenever we kill this. Watch my speed jump. I'm running here. It's gonna die, I promise you. To 150. You can see the little speed increase there, little like wind trail behind me. It's not a lot, and it lasts like only a few seconds. I think it's 5 or 6. But if you're in like a state of constantly just pulling mobs when you're leveling, like, hey, dot this, we're running, just running, not stopping, running. These are gonna die in your wake basically, and that little speed increase that kicks in is nice. Keep dotting, keep running. This pack's about to die here, roughly, so it's going to kick in now. It just chains, and it keeps chaining from one pack to the next. And honestly, I think that's a lot better than having any other kind of like, 4 intellect or 3 stamina or, 5 secondary stat food than probably by a long shot. So I think Bear Tartar is definitely worth looking at if you have like the need for speed, which is something that I have, obviously. You can't tell here. So Bear Tartar, still relevant after all this time. Besides that, you have like obviously like your flask, temperate potions, Algarian mana oil. Honestly, if I have a large stack of potions laying around, or like silver or bronze ones, I just throw them into a macro. I'll macro them into like if I'm playing Affliction Agony or something like that, and just whenever I have one off cooldown, it pops it and just keep it rolling for leveling, and just churn through 100 or 200 of them while leveling. Why not? Sort of free secondary stats, no big deal. Oil, obviously, whether a flask of your choice, pretty good. And honestly, for consumables, that's about it, without getting like super in depth with other like items and things. I will say the last thing here when it comes to trinkets. So secondary or like stat-based trinkets equip ones, especially like Diamantine Void Core, which has some little damage effect if you're playing the weapon, or things like Parapodia or Sackbrew that give like these random stat procs, are not exceptionally strong for leveling. Now they do have some like damage effects tied to Parapodia and Sackbird and things, but for the most part, trinkets and effects like Perfidious Projector from Next King, I think, or Nazindri's Mystic Lash, things that have like on-use damage procs or proc-based damage effects are typically pretty strong. Perfidious Projector is very strong in the first place for just raw damage. It wasn't like a trinket was played by most, or really, I don't think any at all this patch, as far as like rating was concerned, but it does a lot of on-demand damage. I have a champion one, and I'm probably going to play it while leveling because I can pop this thing, and it just does a lot of damage on a 2-minute cooldown. Damage increased by 30% per enemy up to 150. If I pull a big pack or 5-6 mobs and pop this thing, it just slices them all down with no issue whatsoever. So if you have like a projector, other damage like effects, Nazindri's Mystic Lash, random damage procs and things, I would highly consider using those when it comes to leveling. There's my projector right there. Attack. It just slices them down, right? When it comes to leveling compared to like, you know, a Diamantine Void Core or a Parapodia or an Araz's Ritual Forge, for example, they're not terrible, but like it's sort of, I want like passive set it and forget it. I'm running, doing damage, hitting mobs, and things are proccing and killing them along the way kind of effects comparatively to like, you know, secondary stat-based trinkets and all that, at least to me personally. The last thing, obviously, if you're leveling in a party, very, very important. Also, if by the way, with foods, if you're not using Bear Tartar, get a hearty food so it lasts through death. But the most important thing in a party, if you're leveling in a party, don't forget your Swap Blaster. Exceptionally important. Throw your friends off a cliff. There you go. I do very briefly want to hit on a couple of good resources here for leveling and week 1 prep and stuff. We're going to have a video coming out before launch as well, like what to do week 1 and all that, like more in depth, probably on this guide as well as a couple other things. But I do briefly want to mention Laria's Raiders Guide for Midnight. This has been changed post, I guess, Crest changes a couple days ago. There's a lot of information in here, what to do, what's changed for rating, week 1, week 2, week 3. There's eye level compare, or a chart of a million different things, obviously. I'll have links always down below. But if you guys are looking for a bit of a read ahead, I guess, for what's coming in the first 2 weeks of the actual expansion launch at 90, be a great place to start here. There's links to things like Nary wrote an article for Icy Veins here, looking at factions in Midnight, breaking down Renown for Amani, Tribe, Silvermoon, Targly, Singularity, Renown Guide, all that stuff. Pretty in-depth here, and def worth looking at if you're a bit unfamiliar with the factions, or I guess Renowns like I am. In Midnight. And also there's a new site called Today in WoW. This is a very new project here. It basically, I haven't even dug through all of it, but it's super sick. It basically highlights what is happening today and in the near future in WoW. It's still being updated with a lot of cool new features from what I understand. Like for example, it highlights all the promotions that are available now, like the Discord WoW quest, the Pinterest camera toy, support a streamer drops are coming on the 26th as well. It's super in-depth. You can track a million things across, like world quest across War Within, Dragonflight, Shadowlands, Battle for Azeroth, Legion, if they're active or not. It's super in-depth. Midnight obviously as well will have world quest here, which is good for like, you know, hey, this is up, what can we do here, day 1, day 2. Super in-depth, calendars, achievement list, all that stuff, and it's still being iterated upon. So if you guys can check it out, I'd encourage you to do so. None of this is sponsored, by the way. I'm choking on my pre-workout. None of this is sponsored, by the way. It's just literally cool stuff I found for launch. So that's that. Yeah. The last thing I want to hit on here is what I plan on playing while leveling. I want to drive home before I get too far into this, though, is that you can play whatever you want for leveling. If you like Destro, play it. If you like Demo, play it. If you like AF, go ahead and play it. Any hero talent, it doesn't matter. Leveling is pretty simple, and if you're even like decently geared, you're probably going to blast through the first 4 or 5 levels really quickly anyways, 1 or 2 shotting mobs. I'm choosing to play Affliction. This is what I'm playing here, but it doesn't matter. Because honestly, we're all rushing to 90 to sit on our hands for 2 weeks because there's nothing to do for the first 2 weeks of the expansion, barring like, you know, normal dungeons. So have fun with it, is what I would say. I'm just playing Affliction. Soul Harvester is good. On-demand Shard Gem with Dark Harvest. Honestly, it might even be a Hellcaller world where you just put up withers and run around and dot things and watch them die, but both are fine. Doesn't really matter. I'd assume for the first 3 or 4 levels, I'm going to dot mobs and just run. They're going to die in my wake, and that'll be it. Playing more of a seed build with like Death's Embrace, you know, Patient Zero, Seed, so that kind of stuff. Dark Glare with Nether Plating here. I am playing Haunt, obviously, easy for pathing here. Besides that, Drain Soul for some shard gen, if need be. Dark Harvest, obviously. THG mentioned that he might play Sacrifice, which actually is not a bad idea for leveling if you're running around just, dotting random things, because, like, it does often proc, or it can do, like, that random just passive damage that you want when you're just running around hitting things. Same with, like, damage-based trinkets that are equip-based, like Male Mental, or, I guess, projectors on use, so point being, Sac might be the play here. But regardless, I'm just going to play this. Should be fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, class tree, you're gonna gain points when you're leveling regardless. I think it goes spec tree, hero, class. I think it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I believe, because you get 4 over here for your Apex talent. But honestly, I'm throwing them in the Apex here. We're filling these in just in a row, obviously. And over here, you can grab other things like, Strength of Will, Dark Accord, whatever else you want. It doesn't matter. Honestly, leveling's fun. Not much to do for the first 2 weeks anyways, in a good way. So there's not even a rush to level to 90. But if you want to, this is how I'm going to play. Should be fun and should slam through some mobs. All that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully helped out a little bit. We got a lot of videos coming out over the next videos on the channel. The spec guides are coming out, all that, and I'll be streaming on Tuesday, or well, maybe Tuesday, but Thursday for early access around 6 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. GG and GN.